It's time for a new mock, and this time we are moving away from the Lord of the Rings, but not going too far because today I'll be building the Great Tree of Lindon from the Rings of Power show on Amazon. One of these days I'll have to build something not from Middle-earth again, but make sure to stick around to see the completed build at the end of this video. But real quick, if you enjoy these mock videos, make sure you are subscribed and click the bell to get notified every time I share a new mock. But now let's jump into some progress. So now we're starting with the base, and I wanted to make this a round cylindrical sort of stone structure just because that is sort of what it looked like in the movie, and I got some inspiration from the Rivendell Council of Elrond scene, but honestly at the end of it this ended up being pretty different from that. Because I'm using two different sized circles, one smaller one on top and of course the main one, that really ended up being a challenge to figure out how in the world I'm going to attach two different sizes of sideways snot pieces on every single angle together. That was just a big challenge. Around this point, I started realizing that I can't finish the whole circle because I'm going to have to attach the tree somewhere, so I kind of left a back corner open just because I didn't really know how I was going to do the tree yet. So I really needed to leave some room for some creative experimentation here. And originally I was going to have all of the rock work be this dark tan color, but I ended up moving away from that and only had a small portion of it be that color. So here's a little progress update. We have some of the rock work going around. We have the majority of the platform put together and then just started putting together that brown or dark tan rock work. The underside is pretty chaotic, but it's coming together. I'm leaving some of these exposed studs just so I can attach some leaves and minifigures there on the top. And now, not a big update, but I just added some of these leaves here and some of the foliage. You can see the platform is kind of extending down a little bit further. It is kind of starting to come together. A new day, time for some new progress. On this day, my goal was to finish the rock work entirely, so I endeavored to try to get that all done, but of course the tree was just looming there in the background, not really sure how I'm going to tackle that, so a little intimidating, but I just wanted to get the rock work done so I could start focusing on the tree. And you can see just how difficult that top circle was to try to figure out how in the world I was going to attach it while allowing still for some angles and fun ways to build the tree. And now at last, 2.5 minutes into this video, I am finally starting to work on the tree itself. So pulling out all of my brown and dark brown slopes and pieces that would work well for this tree. And I'm just experimenting and praying that I don't crack them all just because they are the old brown that seems to be brittle and just cracks pretty much when you look at it. Making some really good progress on this whole thing. I have pretty much finished up the whole rock work all around the whole thing, and this was really tricky, this whole part, trying to figure out how I'm gonna start incorporating the tree and the roots of that coming up. But that is all completely finished all the way around, and it's been very, very difficult up here just because there is some half stud or width of bracket and snot piece issues that are proving to be really difficult. Like, as you can see, this is a bracket right there, and I just have to do that just to be able to attach this section to this section. It really probably doesn't make much sense when I'm just talking about it, but it's been very, very difficult to get all that figured out. I've also adjusted this little pedestal here. It just looks a little bit nicer than it did before, so I'm very happy about that, and I put a little ring on top of it. Now we pretty much just need to go up with the tree, which is also difficult. Building big, thick trees like this is always not an easy task, but that is what we're going to start working on now. I've made some really good progress here with the tree. It is definitely taking some good shape, so I'm very happy with that. And now I'm just starting to add some of the branches and leaves. So I have these connection points, and basically how I'm doing this for now is just with a bunch of these Technic connectors in different directions, and then using some of these animal tail pieces to actually stick the leaves on. And I think that is going to allow us to get all sorts of crazy angles like this, and that should make it look more like a full, very bushy tree. So here is another one, a little bit bigger than that first one. So we're gonna have a few of these, and that should fill up the whole foliage of the tree pretty well and pretty quickly. So now all of the leaves are finally on the tree itself, and I think it looks pretty good, pretty full, and we have all sorts of different angles. And it was looking a little bit bare before I added these 3 leaf pieces on top, but once I did that, just adding those really made it seem a lot more filled out. So I'm very happy, very, very happy with how this is turning out. I am missing some of the correct colors of these tail pieces, so I had to resort to some other colors until I'm able to get some more brown ones. But for now, it's not too crazy noticeable. And now that's pretty much it for this whole thing. We just need to get a couple more of these ferns and those tail pieces, and then add the minifigures, and this thing is done. I'm really happy also with how this little pedestal came out for the ring. It's a pretty simple little build, but I think it just looks pretty nice and just is a nice little detail the way it's put together. And the base of this tree, I'm also very happy with. Oh, I guess it falls off though. I'm very happy with how this came out, especially connecting to these different colored rocks, because that was really, really difficult. There's pieces going at all sorts of different angles, and there's half plate wide thicknesses all over the place. You can see just all the, there's plates sideways here in between these normal right side up ones. You can see that this section of the tree is actually slightly overlapping onto this section, just because that's how it's built with all this sideways stuff going different directions. It all kind of came together back here where the tree is, and so that was honestly a big pain to figure out how that was all going to turn out. But it's all worked out pretty good, and in general, there's probably some illegal techniques in there, but most of it is pretty much solid, pretty legal, I think. But at least it looks good. It is, like, I can pick it up. Well, there's leaves falling off, but I can pick it up by the tree. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. It is fairly fragile, but as long as it's just sitting there, it's not gonna crumble, or shouldn't crumble. I guess I shouldn't jinx it, but this whole section back here, I do think looks pretty cool. And then the stairs going up. And yeah, so I just need to get those last pieces, and then we can call this thing done. And here's a quick picture of why my studio area is always quite a big mess, and I'm always having to sort. I've gone ahead and made some of those changes. So I added a few more of these lime green ferns, and then at the top, I've just added more leaf pieces, both of these small little leaves and then even of the large ones, just to kind of make it look a little bit more filled out and full, because there were some bare spots. And I'm kind of leaving a spot right here a little bit open, just because I think that adds a little bit of just contrast when you have some dark showing through. And then towards the top, I'm just having a lot more of these yellow leaves where it's more exposed to the light and the sun, so it almost kind of gives the effect that the sun is maybe hitting those leaves and making them shine a little bit more. And then I went ahead and switched all of these brown like animal tail pieces just because I had some that were not brown. So now they are all brown, and it just looks a lot more like a finished product, I guess. But I'm really, really happy with how this thing has turned out. All of the rock work was really difficult just because we are working with sideways brick along with just normal upright brick, and then trying to merge those together in really complicated ways is never easy. So I'm very happy with how it has all turned out, especially all this rock work. And then even the tree kind of going down, that was really, really difficult, trying to even merge the colors and make them flow smoothly. I'm really happy with how that ended up. And then this little ring stand, I think turned out really nice. It's a very simple build, but just is kind of a satisfying little thing to put together. And then the way it sits indented into the ground there is quite nice. The steps over here are fairly simple, just snot with different slopes and shapes, but I think it works well. I think they look pretty good. I think my favorite area is probably the back of this rock here, just because of how complicated it is. I mean, you have like plates and tiles sideways up here, all these sideways brick, upright brick, mixed all throughout this whole thing. So it really was a puzzle to put together, but I think it turned out really, really quite nicely. And then even just having this little branch sticking off here, I think adds a lot. And then just some of these roots. I actually really like this build also because it is a really nice small display piece. Like, it just looks good on its own, a nice little nature piece with a pop of color. So even just from that standpoint, I think it's kind of fun and I enjoy that. It's nothing like too huge or crazy. I'm gonna bring this to some conventions, so that'll be fun to show off. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you have ideas for future MOCs, especially Rings of Power ones. That is something I am interested in doing some more of, and I actually have a plan for another one kind of already in the works. But yeah, let me know if you have ideas as well. But that is going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of the support. Here is another video that YouTube thinks you might also enjoy in the meantime. But that's going to do it. I'll see you in the next one.